marched into Russia in June of 1941. As war spread across the globe, Americans began to see that the time would soon come for the USA to step into this arena. But for now, there was still time for peaceful pursuits. Joe Louis, the heavyweight champion of the world, enjoyed a gentler game before one of the toughest fights he'd ever face. Louis versus Kahn was 1941's Fight of the Year. Billy Kahn on the right was 25 pounds lighter than Joe Louis. But not only did Kahn survive into the 12th round, the judges had him way out in front. Kahn, the light heavyweight champ, was supposed to be a pushover for Joe Louis. Watch this combination by Kahn. Louis was supposed to do this. Watch Kahn's brutal combination one more time. In the 13th now, Joe Louis knows he has to knock out Kahn or lose his heavyweight title. Kahn has only to stay out of reach and on his feet to win it. But Kahn still wants to mix it up. Can he outpunch the bomber? This is one of the most famous rounds in heavyweight history. Louis is moving in for the kill. Kahn may be all punched out. And as Louis said before the fight, he can run, but he can't hide. Billy Kahn is down for good. He only had to stay out of the champ's reach to record one of boxing's greatest upsets. But he tried to outslug the slugger, Joe Louis, and no one could do that in 1941. In the 1941 Cotton Bowl, the Fordham Rams swarmed through the Texas A&M line to block this second quarter punt. Fordham took over, and they were full of tricks. Watch this Statue of Liberty play. That college classic got Fordham down to the 1. Then a tricky shift, and Steve Filipowicz plunges for a score. But the Aggies' Marion Pugh winds up and puts it right in Earl Smith's hand. Texas A&M leads 13-6, but watch Fordham's Jim Blumenstock weave, dance, and dive to make it 13-12. The extra point could tie it, but the kick is blocked, and the Aggies win the Cotton Bowl. In the 41 Rose Bowl, Stanford's Pete Kometovic breaks loose against Nebraska. Then Hugh Gallineau bursts up the middle to tie the game at 7. Nebraska took the lead, but Stanford immortal Frankie Albert strikes deep down the middle. Gallineau pulls it in, and Stanford wins the 41 Rose Bowl. On to Forest Hills, New York, where Sarah Cook on the right and Pauline Betts went for the U.S. tennis title. Cook in the far court has been battling Betts in the big tournaments all year. But in this showdown, Sarah Cook clearly proved she was number 1 in 41 with a 6-1, 6-4 victory. Bobby Riggs took on dapper Frank Kovacs for the men's title. No clowning here for Riggs as he attempts to regain his U.S. crown. Kovacs in the near court took the first set, but now Riggs has him pinned to the baseline. Riggs comes to the net and forces Kovacs to hit wide. Riggs serving, match point, and Kovacs misses with his return. Bobby Riggs is the U.S. champion. Magic Year Madness. Barrel boxing. Whoever came up with this idea may well have emptied those kegs all by himself. served as a secure meeting place for President Roosevelt and Winston Churchill. The two leaders met to draft the Atlantic Charter, a statement of Allied aims in war and peace. In 1941, the great Seabiscuit proudly witnessed the unveiling of his life-size bronze statue at Santa Anita in California. The year before, Seabiscuit had won his last race right here, the $100,000 Santa Anita Handicap. Now, Seabiscuit and his fans enjoyed the fact that here, finally, was the statue of a horse without a general in the saddle. 90,000 people were on hand for the 1941 Kentucky Derby. The Churchill Downs fans took their traditional refreshments as they waited for the start. As the horses took to the track, all eyes were on the pre-race favorites, number 9, Porter's Cap, and number 4, the unpredictable Whirlaway, with the great Eddie Arcaro in the saddle. Whirlaway had been inconsistent in 1941, and in the Derby, he let Dispose number 11 and Porter's Cap take the early lead. In the backstretch, Whirlaway is still off the pace, but he's moving up, and the Churchill Downs crowd is waiting and hoping for a fabulous stretch run. At the top of the stretch, half the field is still in contention. But now, Eddie Arcaro steers Whirlaway into the lead. Whirlaway picks up speed with every stride. Soar away with 8-length victory. Whirlaway smashed the track record. And now, on to the Preakness, where 40,000 turn out for the second leg of racing's Triple Crown. And how does Whirlaway respond to his new fame? Well, here he is on the rail, dead last and fading. Whirlaway's barely in the picture. He's running like a stable pony. Thoughts of Triple Crown have quickly disappeared. The big question now is which of the other horses is going to win this Preakness. But in the backstretch, Arcaro moves Whirlaway up with the pack and aims at the leader, King Cole. Was there still time to catch up? For Whirlaway, there was always time. Here come Arcaro and Whirlaway out into the lead. At the top of the stretch, Whirlaway just takes off. Look at the winning form of one of the greatest thoroughbreds ever as he takes the second jewel in racing's Triple Crown. Next stop, the Belmont Stakes, where Whirlaway can become only the 5th horse to ever win the Triple Crown, or just another also-ran. Eddie Arcaro's got his pick, and it's number 3, Whirlaway. Only 3 other horses dare to challenge him in the Belmont, and Whirlaway's gotten cocky. He doesn't wait for anybody else to set the pace. He just takes off. As Eddie Arcaro put it, there was no pace. It was very slow. So I yelled to those other jockeys, I'm leaving. Robert Morris challenged briefly on the home stretch, but there was really never any doubt. The legendary Whirlaway and Eddie Arcaro took the Belmont Stakes and racing's Triple Crown in 1941. For Arcaro, it was the first of 2 Triple Crown wins in a brilliant career. The NHL's top team in 1941 was the Boston Bruins. Second place Toronto in the dark jerseys gave Boston a struggle in the Stanley Cup semis, but even the great Sil Abs couldn't carry the Leafs to victory. The Boston Bruins in white with number 15 Milt Schmidt at center were clearly the best. Watch Milt wind up with this score. Boston goalie Frankie Mr. Zero Brimsek held off Toronto and then Detroit as the Bruins took home the Stanley Cup for the second time in 3 years. In the 1941 NIT final, Ohio University in white took on LIU. The Ohio boys work it around. They built a big lead in the first half, but in the second, they just couldn't find the hoop. The LIU Blackbirds went 10 minutes without a score at one point, but Butch Schwartz connected here to get them rolling again. Ohio was led by the great Frank Baumholtz, who hit bombs from all over. But LIU hit their stride with a brilliant passing game. High scorer Butch Schwartz has it here. It's knocked away, but the Blackbirds go back to Butch and pull away to the NIT title. A Magic Years Challenge. Ted Williams made magic in 1941. He did something no American leaguer had done since 1923, and no major leaguer has done since. What was Ted Williams' triumph in 1941? Before lifetime batting average got a big boost in 1941 when he batted .406, the last major leaguer to hit over 400. Pearl Harbor. A December dawn in Hawaii was shattered by the scream of Japanese warplanes. And America was at war.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
In Boston, the world-famous milers Greg Rice and Don Lash dueled in the 2-mile run at 1941's Memorial Games. Rice bolted out in front of Lash, who held the meet record for the 2 miles. A great closing kick from Greg Rice took both the race and record in 9 minutes and 4/10. At the AAU Championships, Rice did it again, this time in the 3-mile run. Rice trailed in the early going. But with that closing kick, Greg Rice laps the field. He sailed by his weary competitors to set a 3-mile record of 13 minutes and 51 seconds. Greg's parents were on hand for the magic moment. One of the all-time kings of distance running, Greg Rice. The Army-Navy game, a highlight of the 1941 season. Navy punts in the second quarter. Army's Hank Mazer fields it and hands off to Ralph Hill, who sees nothing but open field ahead. Hill takes it 56 yards before the punter, Buddy Werner, finally catches up with him. Hank Mazer does it himself this time, as the cadets march to the 1-foot line. Jim Watkins goes in for the game's first score. But Navy QB Barnacle Bill Busick hit Bob Proud here as the midshipmen turned it all around in the second half. Busick faked this pass and took it to the 2. Then Phil Hurt drove through an Army tackler, and the midshipmen drove on to a 14-6 win over Army. New York Giant hero Tuffy Lehmans scrambles out of trouble and connects with Ward Cuff in the NFL title game against the Bears. Lehmans goes to George Frank on the sideline, and Frank scores to give the Giants their best moment of a long day. But Hall of Famer Sid Luckman's toss to Norm Stanley gets the Bears moving. George McAfee scores, and now it's all Chicago. The Giants try a flea flicker, but Chicago's Ken Cavanaugh picks up the loose ball as the Big Bad Bears roll on to a 37-9 victory. Hit off the balls of your feet. Good golf style in this Magic Years madness from 1941. I wonder if she ever considered holding for place kickers.
The automakers knew it would be something special. Then the automotive press gave substance to their intuitions.
The Legends road manners are superb. its straight line tracking ranks with the best.
The Acura Legend is as good as it gets.
The Acura Legend from a new division of American Honda, exclusively at your Acura dealer.
This Bud's for all that you...